Stall out them pint bottles out granny crib. I poured so much I ain't want to live. Told money then, shit we in the wind. I was in the hood when I clipped the bin. Since a young nigga I been ready. Went glass house on every Chevy. In this game I tried plenty settings. It's all or nothing. How niggas been. Got sucker niggas, keep suckers with them. One of the reasons I ain't fucking with them. Trish taking some more than her. Guess she couldn't even afford a winner. I'm open late, don't need a scale, and it's always over. Sneak wishing well, I double down, slick shit to spell. Shawty know I don't kiss and tell. I'm faded, 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 faded. I'm faded, 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 faded. Hell, I'm faded, 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 faded. I'm faded, 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 faded.
Greatest damn show on YouTube. Welcome to the greatest damn show on YouTube.
There we go. Mona, what it do? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Let me see, man. Make sure everything's shared out. Y'all double tap the screen, shut a live out, man. If you watch it on the playback, be sure to comment throughout. Let me know that you stepped in the building. What is Ivan doing in the Discord on streaming? Like, what, Ivan? Double tap the screen, shut a live out. We got an action-packed episode in here this morning, man. We got Speaker Johnson still refusing to swear in. What is her name? Adelita for AZ, man. They're saying that she's going to be the 218th signature on the Epstein discharge petition, and Mike Johnson's not trying to swear in, so we're going to cover that as well. The long form we're going to watch today is AOC and Bernie Sanders did a town hall for CNN. We're definitely going to watch AOC and Bernie Sanders. Also, they're saying in Swedish city Malmo is now ranked as dangerous as Baghdad. Did y'all think a town, a city in Sweden would be as dangerous as Baghdad? Well, I for damn sure didn't. They're talking about there has been 161 bombings in Sweden so far in 2025, man. Prayers for those people over there in Sweden. Another topic, we got J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk doing, speaking at the TPUSA event. So this has sparked a lot of rumors saying that J.D. Vance is prepping Erica Kirk to be his running mate in 2028. And I want to know, chat, do y'all think anybody can beat that ticket? Do you think anybody can beat a J.D. Vance, Erica Kirk ticket? I know it sounds kind of crazy right now, but as more unfolds, we'll be watching that closely. Also, we got Netanyahu came down with a bronchitis, said that they're gonna delay his corruption trial. I believe it's a corruption trial. Yeah, it's a corruption trial. He's supposed to testify, so they're gonna cancel that and reschedule it on his corruption trial, man. Also, we got Mamdani is leading the race by far and large for that mayor spot in New York City. Mamdani is running away with it. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. We got an action-packed episode. Call your auntie, uncle, and your cousin. Tell them plug live, and he running his mouth. I don't care if you far left, far right, liberal, conservative, Marxist, fascist, alien, NPC. Get your ass in. We finna have them conversations this morning. Lala, you got them plain lays ready? Y'all ready, chat? Where that baby go at, man? We intro mode. Thank you, Gito.
I told my niggas to mark my word, I guarantee that I'm next. I got the arms of a bodybuilder from the way that I flex. Might just hit the strip just to go blow me a check. They know what the fuck I'm on. They say that they got some of the best gas, they call it Southern Joy. Chain on chain and ice on ice like Adam Sandler, I'm Waterboy. I know I'm all in the head. Bad bitch laying in my bed. Wait so I give her a spray. I'm a master with the head. Don't let these social fool you. These niggas broke, I know that they ain't bought it. Ain't got no car but talking shit. Okay, then little walkie-talkie. I told that bitch to come home. I ain't got time for no bitch that's healing. Fuck the blood, she called me daddy. And I'm screaming out no dick. I'ma make sure that she come. I'ma fuck her good with my tongue. I know the night is still young. So baby, let's get it in. I know just how she like it tonight. She spicy, she added a friend. They ain't identical, but they fuck alike. So in the bed, I call them twin. I call them twin. Bed, I call them twin. Bitch, and shoot a shoot. 1 + 1 = 2. What you tryna do? Go back for back, check a swoop. Either way it go, I'm on. Either way it go, I'm gone. Brody them just got like 100 on me, they tryna get them gone. What you call it, wet? What's the name? And he put it in his song. Brody them got the purest product, it's pink, you know this shit is strong. No diddy. I'm the type of nigga that turn my bitch up in each city. Brother cut out, we sellin' brain, we hit the gritty. I'm feeling like a baby, I'm tryna get that milk up out them titties. It's no question who young and the latest. If you want your bitch, then when she talking, hear her. If I want the bitch, I'm going Pittsburgh. Still her. I keep some on the side, I don't have trust in just the main bitch. Suck me up while I'm driving like damn, I'll die by this lane switch. Shit, different type of free, so we ain't never got to tussle. Throw it back like Miss London, and sum me up like be hustle. Yeah, shoot me.
Oh man, double tap the screen, shut a live out, chat. Y'all know we working with a shadow ban. I need everybody to double tap the screen for me, shut this live out. I don't care if you share it to your timeline or the last person you text. Y'all locked in, chat. Y'all locked in, let's go, man. This is the lady right here that she won her district. Let me get to it. Let me get to it, chat. Hold on. 3 weeks after her overwhelming victory, Speaker Johnson still refused to swear in Adelita for AZ, giving 800,000 Arizonans the representation they deserve. Why? To deny the 218th signature on the Epstein discharge position, the GOP is choosing to protect PDFs over and over again. That's what the caption reads, and we're finna get into it, man. Let's hear from her, and let's hear from whoever this is she's standing with.
Dan Goldman here with my soon-to-be colleague.
Almost. Adelita Grijalva, Congresswoman-elect from Arizona 57.
Now, you say Congresswoman-elect. Why are you still a Congresswoman-elect even though your election was 22 days ago?
Well, Speaker Johnson refuses to swear me in.
Has your race now been certified? Is there anything that would stop you from being sworn in?
No, my race was certified. This Speaker Johnson, swore in 3 other members of Congress in under 24 hours from the date of their election. Here I am sitting on 22 days after my election.
Now, this is interesting because you hear Speaker Johnson say that he wants you to be sworn in front of the full House so you can give a big speech to everybody. But I guess the question is, do you want that?
No.
You want to be sworn in right now.
I want to get to work because the people of Arizona deserve to have a member of Congress that has full privilege. When we come here, security stops me.
Right.
One of you members with your nice pins has to come and get me from the line.
Well, more importantly, you cannot do constituent services, right?
Not
you
at all.
cannot hire staff. So that's important. But the other thing that's interesting is you would be the 218th signature on the discharge petition that would go to the floor to require all of the Epstein files to be released. How much do you think that's weighing in here?
I don't think it's a coincidence that 217th signer, Representative Walkinshaw, was sworn in under 24 hours. And here we are.
Oh, interesting. So our colleague, Representative Walkinshaw, within 24 hours of his election was sworn in, but you're now 218. Now, the other thing that Speaker Johnson says is that, no, that's not it, because there's an oversight investigation that's doing an investigation into the Epstein files. But the thing that I find very interesting about it,
my damn lighter don't work, Chad.
Includes all sorts of evidence that oversight investigation does not. Audio recording, video recording, photos, witness interviews. So he is desperately trying to prevent that discharge petition from coming to the floor because he is protecting Jeffrey Epstein's accomplices, whoever they may be.
Yep. And who deserves to have justice are the victims. And the information that oversight has is very redacted, not complete, and is being isolated to that one committee, even though there are implications across the committees on what's contained in those files. So the American public wants transparency, and we want to give it to them, the Democrats.
So what we need to do is make sure that Speaker Johnson swears you in today and gets back from vacation so that you can do the job for Arizona and so that we can expose the pedophiles and other accomplices of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes.
All right, chat. We finna keep it pushing on her. We're gonna hear Speaker Johnson respond to it. Let me pull up Speaker Johnson responding to it. Double tap the screen, shut her live out. We finna get through these early topics so we can get into that town hall. I really want to watch that town hall. Double tap the screen, shut her live out, man. I know it's the early morning and I am running a little late, but it is what it is. We're gonna push through this, man. Here we go.
You're afraid of her being the 218th signer to the Epstein petition to release the files, that if she were a Republican, you would have sworn her in. What do you say?
I say bless her heart. She's a representative-elect. She doesn't know how it works around here.
Well, what do you say to that?
Offensive. How offensive and how patronizing. Really? I mean, I do know that 2 members of Congress were sworn in on a pro forma session. We've had several since I've been elected. And yesterday, my race was certified. And so that's how things work. Your job as Speaker is to swear people in, whether you politically align with them or not, whether they're going to sign a discharge petition that you want out or not. Your job is to swear me in.
Straight up, his job is to swear her in. I want to know why he's not swearing her in. Let's get into this clip right here. Hold on, we got a super chat, man. Y'all double tap the screen. That's Big Niece says $2 for a new lighter. Thank you, Big Niece, for the $2 for the new lighter, chat. Y'all double tap the screen. Give Big Niece some flames for supporting the channel and supporting my damn habit, man. Cause I do need a new lighter.
It couldn't be more obvious. This right here, this is going to be your 2028 presidential ticket. This entire assassination, the optics, the post-optics,
So he's saying that J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk will be the Republican ticket of 2028. Chat, I want to know, chat, how do y'all feel about that? Do y'all agree with that, disagree with that? Is it a strong ticket, a weak ticket? Y'all let me know.
Kirk show, bringing all the key people on to host the Charlie Kirk podcast the day after he died. Erica Kirk, the first thing she thinks is, oh, J.D. Vance. Are you paying attention? Did you see Erica Kirk and her security detail? Oh, it's the same security detail that was supposed to keep Charlie safe.
There was the exact same security detail. I seen the dude with the blockhead and the little square glasses. I seen him getting her out of the car. He had a pretty nice suit on too, but yeah, it is the same security company down to the people.
Got his head blown off. So now, would you be the wife of somebody who got your, like the sole people responsible for protecting your husband? They're now going to be your security detail after he got his head blown off. Let that sink in, okay? So this is going to be your presidential ticket. And I also just want to tell you about how fake and gay everything really is. So I've been talking to a lot of people. These are people that are higher up, used to be higher up in the Turning Point organization. Now, Turning Point's been kind of on the come up. There's been a lot of politicians that have cycled through and filtered through that maybe they're a kingmaker organization. So their purpose is to basically platform politicians and give them the voice and give them the push over the finish line that they need, okay? Well, at these political events, there's always after parties. So there might be Turning Point, right? And you probably have gone to America Fest. You guys have gone to some of these events. You know, the events are great. They have the big thing, CPAC. Everybody's at CPAC, and they're talking. They're on stage. And then after what happens? Oh, the after parties happen. And then you have different tiers. You're either VIP. At the Bitcoin events, you get a whale pass. And then you have, like, the VIP whale pass, which is, like, the speakers-only whale pass. The host, right? Like Don Jr. and Tucker Carlson were at an event. It was like $5,000 or $10,000.
I'm gonna keep it real. I heard Ted Cruz gearing up to get ready to make his run, but I think people are done with that Israel first shit, man. Might have a hard time. If they want to keep the Israel first agenda really going, they might want to slide Erica Kirk in that month. I'm just keeping it real.
Ticket, okay? So at these type of events, and then they go up from that. Those are the events that start the dinner party events. And then after that, there's after parties, okay? And at those after parties, they're giant gay or...
Especially after what Mike Johnson said, especially after what, not Mike Johnson, but what Mike Huckabee said. Mike Huckabee said the Christians getting treated bad over there. They're not letting them come in like they supposed to and shit. So what Mike Huckabee saying now, I don't know, man. And Ryan Matter saying they having these orgies at the TPUSA events. We seen the TPUSA trad wives fighting, talking about banging husbands and getting finger banged in the lobbies and shit like that, man. We heard them talk about that.
These type of events, and then they go up from that. Those are the events that start the dinner party events. And then after that, there's after parties, okay? And at those after parties, they're giant gay orgies for the most part. If you've heard about the Turning Point team and all the influencers that have wives and all of these children, and we know, they know, we don't know, but we know that they know that we know that we know that they know that they're putting from the rough, okay? So at these events, they're just giant coke binges, ecstasy, Molly, underage girls, partake. I mean, look at the Franklin scandal. Look at the underage boys that were getting delivered to our politicians, okay? By like CIA, by our intelligence agencies. We're delivering underage boys to politicians, and it just got swept under the rug. Every time there's a massive raid or there's a sting operation, why do you think our FBI does so few sting operations? Who got caught in the last FBI sting operation? Oh, the Israeli counterintelligence officer, the cybersecurity officer for literally Benjamin Netanyahu, came over to America to buy and purchase sex with a child, and he got busted by our FBI and FBI sting. How do you think he went about that? Was he going through somebody that he knows? This guy was so confident he probably got baited online by like literally.
Oh yeah, speaking in Yahoo chat, while we're right there, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. It's saying that these are reports coming out today at Tel Aviv or yesterday. It says Justin Netanyahu has been diagnosed with non-threatening bronchitis, prompting his personal physician to recommend rest and the cancellation of his corruption trial testimony in Tel Aviv court. So, Netanyahu has non-life-threatening bronchitis, so his corruption trial will be delayed.
An ad online and calling online and then doing a little research on Backpage and then came across a little boy.
Bro, soon as I say that shit, it messes up, chat. I'll be back, man. I'm finna have to reset the live. Soon as I get to talking about this damn corruption trial being delayed, they want to mess up my audio, bro. Like, it's pretty obvious now. This is like the third day in a row when I say something a little bit, edgy, y'all want to get me out of here. But chat, just bear with me.
On to host the Charlie Kirk podcast the day after he died. Erica Kirk, the first thing she thanks. On to host the Charlie Kirk podcast the day after he died. Erica Kirk, the first thing she thanks is, JD Vance. Are you paying attention? Did you see Erica Kirk and her security detail? No, it's the same security detail that was supposed to keep Charlie safe, and he got his head blown off. So now, would you be the wife of somebody who got the sole people responsible for protecting your husband, they're now going to be your security detail after he got his head blown off? Let that sink in, okay? So this is going to be your presidential ticket. And I also just want to tell you about how fake and gay everything really is. So I've been talking to a lot of people. These are people that are higher up, used to be higher up in the Turning Point organization. Now, Turning Point's been kind of on the come up. There's been a lot of politicians that have cycled through and filtered through that maybe they're a kingmaker organization. So their purpose is to basically platform politicians and give them the voice and give them the push over the finish line that they need, okay? Well, at these...
We back, chat? Are we back yet, chat? Press 1 if we back.
Political events, there's always after parties. So there might be Turning Point, right? And you probably have gone to America Fest. You guys have gone to some of these events. The events are great. They have the big thing, CPAC. Everybody's at CPAC, and they're talking. They're on stage. And then after what happens? Oh, the after parties happen. And then you have different tiers. You're either VIP. At the Bitcoin events, you get a whale pass. And then you have, like, the VIP whale pass, which is, like, the speakers-only whale pass. The host, right? Like Don Jr. and Tucker Carlson were at an event. It was, like, $5,000 or $10,000 for a ticket, okay? So at these type of events, and then they go up from that. Those are the events that start the dinner.
That's crazy. You said I'm not big enough for the feds to care about. I'm going to keep it real, bro. I done had the DNC people hit me up, RNC people hit me up, man. We done like 6 million views last month. We done 5 million views a couple months over here, man. I'm just going to keep it real. Yeah. The feds was watching me before I ever started YouTube. I'm just saying.
And then after that, there's after parties, okay? And at those after parties, they're giant gay orgies for the most part. If you've heard about the Turning Point team and all the influencers that have wives and all of these children, and we know, they know, we don't know, but we know that they know that we know that we know that they know that they're putting from the rough, okay? So at these events, they're just giant coke binges, ecstasy, Molly, underage girls, partake. I mean, look at the Franklin scandal. Look at the underage boys that were getting delivered to our politicians, okay? By like CIA, by our intelligence agencies. We're delivering underage boys to politicians, and it just got swept under the rug. Every time there's a massive raid or there's a sting operation, why do you think our FBI does so few sting operations? Who got caught in the last FBI sting operation? Oh, the Israeli counterintelligence officer, the cybersecurity officer for literally Benjamin Netanyahu, came over to America to buy and purchase sex with a child, and he got busted by our FBI in an FBI sting. How do you think he went about that? Was he going through somebody that he knows? This guy was so confident he probably got baited online by literally searching an ad online and calling online and then doing a little research on Backpage and then came across a little boy and he's like, yeah, I'm going to hit that dude up, and it happened to be the FBI. It's all gay. Your politicians...
Thank you, on the war.
They're actors. They're installed by our intelligence agencies, and they go out and party. They don't even do a good job at representing us anymore. They don't even pretend like they represent us. They represent Israel, and then when they're not representing and sucking Israel's dick, they're all partying, doing drugs, blowing lines, getting fucking high as a kite, and then they come in to take their votes. And they come in and they get their podium and they do a 2-second speech, rah, 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 as they launder millions of tax dollars. All of our money is just getting evaporated. We're working like slaves over here, working 2 jobs, barely able to keep a roof over our kids' head. Most of us are...
Yeah, see, appreciate the fair use, but this Ryan Matter, you know, Ryan Matter's grinding over there on X, man. No Diddy, no Epstein, man. He, I don't think he minds getting clipped and shared out. He actually encourages people to clip him and share him out, kind of like I do, chat. If y'all ever want to clip me, if it's some funny shit, some bullshit, some serious shit, clip that shit up, man. Clip that shit up, post that shit, man, far and wide.
Downsizing, living in our fucking trailer, or living in a van, or living at home with our fucking parents, because we can't afford to live in this economy because our politicians are so goddamn corrupt. And all it is, they're just actors. It's just a stage. They rule you, and you should obey and be an obedient little tax slave and keep paying your fucking taxes. But anyways, that's a wrap for this video. It's just, that's your presidential ticket. If it couldn't be more obvious, this assassination, it had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk taking Charlie. It had a lot to do with taking Charlie Kirk out. But what it did is it just gave you your vice presidential ticket, where this man would have been non-existent. It would have been Charlie Kirk who won the primaries, because the RNC is who platforms and who chooses is who's going to be the next president, okay? Very rarely does somebody have enough power like you're a Donald Trump and you can outpower the RNC, okay? Well, check this out. J.D. Vance was never...
I'm going to keep it real, Chad. Charlie Kirk was doing his thing. He was making a lot of money for the RNC, but Ryan Matter might be glazing right here. Like, I don't think Charlie Kirk was going to be on the ticket for 2028. Maybe in the future, maybe 2032, maybe that ticket, maybe. But nah, I don't think they was finna push J.D. Vance out the way, man. J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel behind him, big business, big money. Yeah, nah.
On this ticket, he would have never been able to compete and beat Charlie Kirk. So now his wife, who was a stay-at-home wife, who was going to be making...
I don't think they would have let Charlie Kirk compete against J.D. Vance. I think they would have told Charlie Kirk to just chill, wait his turn, let J.D. Vance go against the Ted Cruz's and the Rubios and whoever.
Number 3 and baby number 4 and baby number 5, and staying off the stage. Now she's got a front row ticket. She's front and center of every event. Who knows who's taking care of the children? And your boy J.D. Vance is going to be running for president. Y'all better pray that somebody can beat this dude. Somebody needs to step into that arena and go toe-to-toe with him. And let's pray that it's time.
That's crazy, man. Let's go over here, man. Bernie Sanders and AOC did a town hall. We finna see what's going on right
And of course, it's so great to have both of you here. We have so many audience questions tonight, really good ones. And Senator Sanders, just in terms of how long this shutdown has gone on, you and I have spoken multiple times during this, but we're now on the 15th day. And of course, it's so great to have both of you here. We have so many audience questions tonight, really good ones. And Senator Sanders, just in terms of how long this shutdown has gone on, you and I have spoken multiple times during this, but we're now on the 15th day. The 9th vote to reopen the government failed. Do you think Speaker Johnson is right when he says that this could be one of the longest government shutdowns in U.S. history?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it real with you, Cloud. Ain't no way in hell America is finna put AOC and Jasmine Crockett on the ticket, bro. Not right now. What's up, Journey? Hope you having a good morning. Appreciate you, Journey. I'll get Journey some likes and flames for this super chat, man. Thanks for the conversations, plug. Thank you, Journey. But yeah, Cloud, you might be getting high too early if you think America is finna vote for a Jasmine ticket, AOC ticket, man. Jasmine Crockett AOC ticket is crazy. I'm not gonna lie, man.
No. I think the Republicans are catching on that you can't throw 15 million Americans off of the health care they have. And studies indicate that when you do that, some 50,000 Americans a year will die unnecessarily. And then on top of that, just...
Yeah, you got to pick one or the other, man. You got to pick one or the other, man. If you're going to put AOC on that ticket, Jasmine going to have to wait her turn. You going to put Jasmine on that ticket, AOC going to have to wait, man.
In Vermont today,
if y'all want to win or have a chance to win.
People in my state and all over this country are beginning to receive notices from insurance companies about what their new premiums will be if we do not stop what Trump is doing. In my state of Vermont, there are people today who receive notices that their premiums are going to quadruple. Quadruple. Yes, 3 times. In my state of Vermont, and again, this is true in many parts of the country, middle-class families will be paying $50,000 a year for health care. Anyone think that's sane? It's not. Who can afford that?
50 ball is crazy.
They're playing a losing hand. They are going to come to the table finally and address the healthcare crisis that they've created.
Okay, so you think Republicans will come to the table sooner rather than later. The White House has not indicated as much, and today the budget director, Russ Vought, said that north of 10,000 federal workers could be laid off during this government shutdown. Does that make Democrats rethink their strategy at all?
I don't think so. I think that what Russ Vought just announced today in the laying off of federal workers, we learned today, a judge has put a temporary restraining order because it is likely illegal what he and the Trump administration is doing. The problem is that this administration, the Trump administration, folks like Russ Vought, they think that destroying our health care, making sure that housing is too expensive to live in, that jacking up the costs of our groceries, they think all of this is about hurting Democrats. What they are doing is hurting Americans, and they are hurting this country. And if Mike Johnson wants to say that this shutdown is going to last a long time, it is because he is choosing to punish the American people, and we cannot stand for it, and we cannot allow it. And we also cannot enable it by acquiescing and enabling the behavior of bullies. So it ends today.
So
if I could just add to something Alexandria said.
Go ahead, Senator.
This is the cynicism of the Speaker of the House.
Mm-hmm.
Where are your Republican colleagues tonight? They're back here in Washington negotiating?
That's an excellent question, Bernie. Right now, House Democrats are in Washington, D.C. Senate Democrats are in Washington, D.C. Even Senate Republicans, I believe, are still in Washington, D.C. The only people who are not in Washington, D.C. are the over 200 elected Republicans in the House of Representatives, because Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, refuses to call the House in session. He refuses to also seat Adelita Grijalva because they want to prevent the 218th signature on release of the Epstein files as well.
Can I ask you on that? Because Speaker Johnson was asked about that today, and he said it has nothing to do with that. It's so she can have all the pomp and circumstance that is afforded to most members when they're sworn in. You don't believe that?
No, Mike Johnson has sworn in several members, Republican members, in pro forma sessions. He understands that the importance of this country, the importance of representation, is not about pomp and circumstance. And in fact, it's not just about Representative Grijalva. It's about the over 700,000 people in the state of Arizona, veterans, seniors, teachers, students, who do not have anyone to call in an emergency because their elected representative that has been certified at municipal, state, and the federal level with federal acknowledgement, he refuses to seat a duly elected official here in the House of Representatives.
So we have a lot of questions tonight for people who are here in Washington. And Representative Ocasio-Cortez, this first question is for you. This is Alicia Dulford, who is from Camp Springs, Maryland, and is a TSA officer who's active in her local federal employees union. Thank you so much for being here. What's your question?
Thank you for having me. As the month November approaches, many of us are facing serious hardships as we enter week 3 of the shutdown. Some are at risk of eviction or mortgage default, and local rental companies and lenders have become silent or refused to work with employees presenting DHS debt letters. What protections or emergency actions can be taken to prevent these workers and their families from losing their homes during this time?
Well, thank you so much for your question. And particularly as a TSA employee, I represent LaGuardia Airport. And so I know very, very well all the hard work that you all do and put in, and
Yes, ma'am.
and you all deserve a dignified workplace. You deserve a safe workplace, and you deserve the paycheck that you are working for. What I believe the best thing that we can do is to reopen the government right now, and to ensure and to also call on our representatives and put pressure on individuals like the Speaker of the House to actually pick up the phone. The problem here is not that there is is not even that there's a disagreement. It's that the Speaker of the House and the Trump administration refuses to even have a negotiation. They refuse to even pick up the phone and talk about this. And so,
see, like right here, AOC is, you know what I'm saying, calm, making sense. But it's like, I don't know why, Chad. When I think of AOC, I just think she's unhinged. Why do I think that? Where has AOC shown me that she's unhinged? Like, is that just a narrative, or is this woman really unhinged? Like, right now, she seemed like calm, like cool, you know what I'm saying, making some sense.
So I do not want us to start to agree with what Mike Johnson is saying, and to have them preview for us and normalize the idea that everyone's just going to miss a paycheck, that 1 million federal workers are just going to go without that, and to just warn that in advance and to have us accept that. This is not acceptable. This is not normal. And what is normal is for us to negotiate. When one party wants the votes of another party, you negotiate, you come to a compromise, and you pass a bill. That is schoolhouse rock, and that is how things should be. So I thank you for that, and I want to make sure that we, of course, pass a bevy of federal protections for workers, but we don't want them to be necessary in the first place.
Yeah, and Senator Sanders, on that front, on government shutdowns before, obviously you've said before that you believe shutting down the government is a serious and dangerous action. You said that we must do everything possible to prevent it. What would you say to people who are missing their paychecks about why it's worth it now?
Well, let me just, first of all, thank you very much for your service, and we're going to do everything we can and move as quickly as we can to make sure you get your paychecks. But I want to just back up a little bit to discuss how we got to where we are, because I'm not sure everybody knows this. What Alexandria was just saying is, in the House, majority rules, they pass the budget. In the Senate, not quite the case. It needs 60 votes, okay? That's been going on for a very long time. And the reason for the 60 votes is to encourage bipartisan negotiations, all right? Republicans have 53 people in their caucus. Democrats, including independents, have 47. You got to talk. This time, for the first time in history, what Republicans are saying, yeah, we don't have 60 votes. We're not talking to you, our way or the highway. And what we are saying, sorry, you got to sit down and talk to us. You got to deal with the healthcare crisis in this country.
Well, and they have both, Republicans have argued that Democrats should reopen the government and then they'll negotiate. Where do you both stand on that prospect?
I don't know. Based on their history, they've had months and months. This is not a new thing. Trump's big, beautiful bill was passed. We knew this was happening. They've refused to negotiate. And anyone thinks that tomorrow they'll suddenly start negotiating, I think is smoking what is illegal in many states.
Okay. On that front, let's get to our next question
and more.
From the audience. Senator Sanders, this one's for you. This is Jeffrey Katz, who is a tax attorney from Potomac, Maryland, who says he's a Democrat who voted for President Trump in the last election. Jeffrey, what's your question?
Senator Sanders, you've said 50,000 people could die from ACA subsidy cuts. But right now, 1.4 million federal workers aren't getting paid. How do you justify choosing a fight over subsidies that might help people in the future over workers who are definitely suffering today?
You are talking to, along with Alexandria, one of the strongest pro-worker members of the United States Congress. So we are going to fight for federal workers. And by the way, in terms of the AFTRA union, you are aware that our friend in the White House basically precedented way decided he wasn't going to have that union anymore, etc., etc. We're going to fight for federal employees. But what you just said, 50,000 people dying a year, this is based on studies done from the University of Pennsylvania and Yale. You take 15 million people off of their health care, by and large, low-income and working-class people, what do you think is going to happen to them? They don't go to a doctor, they have chronic problems. They will die. So this issue, and by the way, if I may, it's not only about health care. We are in the situation we are today. Why do you think Trump and his friends made massive cuts to Medicaid and are forcing us to double premiums for the ACA? They gave the 1% in this country $1 trillion in tax breaks. $1 trillion in tax breaks at a time when we have more income and wealth inequality than any time in the history of this country. I'm not going to sit back and say, yeah, we're going to let 50,000 people die so that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and other multi-billionaires can get a tax break.
But can I ask you, in terms of negotiations and what's realistic for the subsidies which expire at the end of December? Obviously, open enrollment starts November 1st. Over in the House, there are 14 House Republicans who have said that they will sign on and they will vote for a one-year extension of the subsidies. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said he thought that proposal was laughable. Do you think that's laughable, or is that something you could get behind?
Yeah, no, let me tell you why it's laughable. Because it's cynical. Republicans want to sign on to just a one little extra year of these ACA subsidies. You want to know why? What's happening next year? Midterm elections. They want to extend these subsidies just a year extra so that people don't realize the dupe that they are pulling on everyone, so that they can all re-elect themselves and allow those things to expire the moment that they win re-election. And it is time to get politics out of what should be a guaranteed universal right in the United States of America, and that is health care. And so I will not accept a measly one-year acceptance of a measly one-year extension of the ACA. We need to make sure, and as a member of the party, we put negotiations in the hands of our party's leadership with Hakeem Jeffries. He says it's no, it's no. And we have to make sure that we are expanding and continuing the fight and not falling for the fine print, not falling for the tricks, and not falling for the politics around this.
If I could add to what Alexandria was saying, it's not just 15 million people losing their health insurance. And it's not just tens of millions of people seeing a doubling or a tripling in their premiums. Our healthcare system, and you guys can argue with me if you want, I think our healthcare system is broken. I think it is dysfunctional. And I think it's on the verge of collapse. And understand that when we talk about these massive cuts to healthcare from Trump and his friends, you're talking about cuts to nursing homes.
Bernie been around for like 44 years, man. He been in office like 44 years.
Cuts to rural hospitals. You're talking about cuts to community health centers where 32 million people get their primary care. This system is on the verge of collapse. And I would hope that everybody in this room and everybody in America ask themselves a very simple question. Why is the United States, the richest country in the history of the world, the only major nation not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right?
So can I ask, if a one-year extension you say is measly and doesn't cut it, what exactly do you want to see? What would you vote for?
Well, again, negotiations are all about back and forth. And the idea of accepting something for nothing, I don't think is something that we're prepared to do. And by that, I mean that requires Mike Johnson saying what he's willing to do and engaging in those negotiations with Hakeem Jeffries. And so this is a team sport. This is about making sure that we're all can come to something that we can agree with. So, I think we know what we will not accept, and what we will not accept is for these ACA premiums to skyrocket on the American people. What we will not accept is the doubling of these premiums, and what we will not accept is allowing the teetering of this system to collapse right before everyone's eyes.
Okay, so you won't accept 1 year. I know, Senator, you've said that you believe they should be permanent, but in terms of what actually happens next year, what do you need to see for the government to be reopened? Can you walk me through what that looks like?
I have a radical idea. You ready for a radical idea? Let's do what the American people want. Do a poll, CNN. Ask people how many think it's a great idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% and decimate the American healthcare system. And if you do not have a strong majority of Republicans, Democrats, and independents saying that is crazy, I will be surprised. Let's do what the American people want. And at the very least, as we continue the fight for a Medicare for All single-payer system, we're going to protect people today from losing their health care.
What's up, Drew?
Or from seeing their premiums skyrocket, seeing nursing homes, community health centers decimated.
But let's say that the White House and Republican leaders say that they will extend these subsidies. It's not clear how long, because you say 1 year is not enough. They haven't even really put that forward yet. I think the question is, does that need to be enshrined into law? What does that need to look like before you would vote to reopen the government? Or is a commitment from the White House and Republicans enough?
No doubt.
I mean,
Mr. President, is a very honest man. And if he says something, man, you could take it to the bank.
So you're saying his word is not enough?
Bankruptcy court.
His word?
So what do you need to see? What commitments from?
I think we need to see ink on paper. I think we need to see legislation. I think we need to see votes. And I think we need to see these things pass on the floor of the House and the Senate and signed by President Trump. I don't accept IOUs. I don't accept pinky promises. That's not the business that I'm in.
Okay, so you need a signature from President Trump in order to vote to reopen the government.
Correct.
Okay, Senator Sanders, we've got another question. This one's for you. This is Logan Carey, who is a student at American University, who's a member of College Republicans and has volunteered for Republican campaign.
They might be waiting a long time for Trump to put pen to paper for that. I ain't gonna lie, they might be waiting a long time.
Thank you for being here, Logan. You're from Green, Maine. What's your question for the senator?
Thank you. Senator Sanders, which specific Republicans leaders do you believe you can work with to pass a CO and reopen the government?
Look, that's a great question, Logan. And let me tell you, I can, mention a number of them. There are some decent, honest Republicans. And, in American society, we believe in democracy. You're a conservative Republican. We disagree. So what? It's called America. We have different points of view. I got to tell you, though, if I may, one of the things that has concerned me very, very much, and is that we are seeing the Republican Party doing less of representing their districts and their states than just swearing allegiance to the President of the United States. So now, I never thought that I would say this, but you have somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, you know what? I was elected by my constituents. That's who I am beholden to, not the President of the United States. So there are good Republicans out there, and if Trump would leave them alone for 5 minutes and not threaten them with a primary, if they stood up and did the right thing, I think we can make progress. I will give you one story. Tom Tillis, conservative Republican from North Carolina. When we're debating this big, beautiful bill, Tillis looks at the bill, he reads the bill, he says, this is a disaster for North Carolina. I can't vote for it. Literally the next day, Trump was all over social media. The billionaires were all over saying, okay, you're finished. We're going to primary you. And a day later, this guy says, I'm out of here. I'm not running for re-election.
John Fernand says Fetterman should lead the Dems. Man, how do y'all feel about Fetterman leading the Dems? Do y'all agree or disagree with Fetterman leading the Dems?
That's where we are right now. And that is a very serious problem.
You mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's your colleague over in the House. The way she frames this is she says Democrats created this mess, but Republicans don't have any solutions to fix the healthcare issue either. Is she someone that you could see yourself working with?
On what?
On the healthcare.
I mean, listen, I think people can talk a good game, but until they actually support policy that helps people, I'm not particularly interested. But if she actually wants to support legislation and expanding healthcare, I've worked with plenty of Republicans as well on healthcare. I have a bill that I've introduced with Congresswoman Malliotakis, a Republican from New York, on expanding maternal health and reauthorizing the Healthy Start program to help newborns and new moms be able to support their kids. And so in terms of bipartisan legislation on healthcare, I'm more than open to doing that.
Oh yeah, chat. I got a couple interviews lined up with some candidates, some mayoral candidates. Yeah, that's it so far. I don't got the governor candidate locked in yet. But listen, I got some mayoral candidates, and I I want y'all to give me some questions to ask them. Like, I don't know if they want to do it live yet or they want to do it offline and post it, but y'all submit the questions. What the hell do I need to ask these people, man?
It's not just about talking the talk. We got to walk the walk. And you would need to see her actually support something that you're behind in terms of legislation on health care.
Yeah.
Our next question is for you, Representative. This is a video question. It's from Eric Johnson, who lives in Hernando, Mississippi. He's an air traffic controller and a father of 4 who is joining us via video tonight. This is his question.
What do you suggest government workers do for food money when the paychecks stop coming?
I mean, these are the real questions that we have to be entertaining. And as I mentioned earlier, the best and most important solution to this is making sure that we reopen the government, not accept the inevitability of this, and come to a resolution as quickly as possible. Extending this shutdown would be a choice. Mike Johnson saying we want to make this the longest shutdown, saying this to prepare for this being the longest shutdown, that's not leadership. That is abdication of responsibility. It's an abdication to families like his, and a complete abdication of the responsibility that we have to people. Now, that being said, we do have to make sure that we come together as communities and that we also systemically expand our programming, like the SNAP cuts that just happened, in addition to the $1 trillion in healthcare cuts as well for families that are under financial duress.
You mentioned what Speaker Johnson has said about how long this could go on. We've heard from Senator Schumer as well, who said the other day that as long as this shutdown continues, he said, quote, every day gets better for us. Do you think every day, though, gets better for someone like Eric?
No, I mean, it's, at the end of the day, this needs to be as short as possible. We do not want the government to be shut down. We don't. This is not something that is good for any American. It's not good for the million federal workers that are out there right now. It's not good for the Americans that rely on federal services. It's not good for people who are traveling.
Listen, Bernie had like 12 years, 13 years in the game before I was born. Bernie been over there a long time, bro. They say Bernie been in office like 44 years, bro. Like, Bernie got like, yeah, bro, I wasn't even thought of, man. Bernie was already, you know, moving and shaking and shit before I was born, dude. Like, that's a long time, bro. Because I feel like I've been alive a long time.
And can't get through an airport because TSA workers are not being paid. So we have to make sure that this is as swift and as short as possible.
Well, and speaking of airports and what air traffic controllers are having to go through, not getting paid, I mean, he's a father of 4, so I can't even imagine how that feels. And Senator Sanders, on that front, in a CNN story the other day, there was a senior Democratic aide who told CNN last week that Democrats won't back down on their demands here, short of, quote, planes falling out of the sky.
All right. What can I tell you? That's obviously unacceptable.
Now y'all saying Bernie too old to lead, man. I just seen Bernie walking through the damn parking lot out there, outside, boots on the ground, no security. I seen Bernie walking out there doing an ad, walking and talking. He letting y'all know he can walk in a straight line and all of that, man. Y'all talking about Bernie too old? Nah, he is old as hell, though. He is old as hell.
Look, what we are dealing with is an unprecedented moment in American history. All right. So it's not only a debate about whether or not we can save health care for tens and tens of millions of Americans. It's also a broader issue. And that issue is whether or not we will accept the reality that a handful of very, very wealthy people are now making out like bandits while 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. So I think what we are saying is that now is the time, not just on healthcare, but all across the spectrum. People can't.
Yeah, they gave Argentina 40 billion, man. Y'all, the reports of 20 billion are no more. They gave Argentina 40 billion. They did bill Argentina out for 40 billion, man.
Groceries. The housing crisis.
Let's just be real, man. Bernie old, Biden was old, Trump old. it's a lot of old folks around. You know what I'm saying? It's some young folks around too. Like JD Vance, pretty young. Obama still young. AOC young. Jasmine Crockett young. But it's some old folks in the house, man. We ain't gonna act like we ain't got no elders in here. It's for sure some elders over there.
Is enormous. People paying 40.
Yeah, that's no disrespect. Let's just be real. Call it what it is. They are elders.
Of their limited incomes for housing. And all the while working class families are struggling to put food on the table, Trump gives his billionaire friends huge tax breaks, and they are getting richer and richer. So what all of this is about is, do the American people come together and demand that we have a government that represents all of us, or just wealthy campaign contributors? That is essentially what this whole fight is about. And right now, healthcare is in the middle of it. But there are a lot of other issues. I worry very much. Now Alexandra and I were on the road talking about this issue, that we are increasingly becoming an oligarchic form of society where a very small number of people not only control our economy, but through their campaign contributions have huge influence over both political parties. And if there was ever a time in America...
Yeah, it's time for Bernie to chill out, man. I mean, I understand, Bernie. You gotta, you might need to be an advisor to somebody, Bernie. You might need to just be an advisor. Get your advisory fees, man, because it's you've been here for 44 years, dude. You preaching, you saying some good stuff, but it's been said for 44 years, dude. It's been said for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might need to switch the messenger. The message is alright, man. The message Bernie got right now, those are some real good things he hitting on. Like, it's fucked up out here right now. Let's not sugarcoat it. But dude, you gotta get somebody else to be able to say this shit, man. Like, straight up, man. It's time to pass the guard, man.
History, when we have got to stand up and fight for working families, fight to prevent authoritarianism taking place in this country. This is the moment.
But you're saying it's bigger than just about health.
And I know Bernie's ready to pass the torch, man, because I seen him do a town hall somewhere, and a guy asked him a question, and Bernie, he was like, well, who do we woo? And Bernie was like, you're gonna be the next one. And I was like, that dude needs to save that clip right there for if he ever runs for anything. You know what I'm saying? He needs to save that clip. That'll be a very powerful message. And Bernie threw him a lob, you know what I'm saying? Clip him up, you know what I mean? But, yeah, Bernie got to pass the buck, man.
Care is huge. When 50,000 people a year may die because of Trump's cuts, that in itself is huge. But the issue is even broader than that. It's, do you have a government that represents you and you, or a government that represents billionaires who want more and more tax breaks and more favors from the government? That's really what this struggle is about.
Senator Sanders, our next question is for you. Nicole Plavitska is here with us tonight. Thank you so much. She's a Democrat and a student at George Washington University from Sunnyvale, California. What's your question?
Hello. Republicans have been appealing to audiences, especially young people like myself, online using social media. Why does Republican messaging on social media seem so much more effective than Democrat?
No, did y'all not see what the White House did with this clip? Chat, I'm sorry. We're going to have to pull this back up, but I got to show y'all what the White House did with this clip. And that's what I mean. Like, the Republicans, like, it's petty, but I told y'all back in October, September, the end of September, October, it was finna get like this. Let me go to the White House Twitter, bro. Let me go to this is the White House posted this, bro. Like, hold on. The White House posted this, bro. This is crazy, bro. My internet running slow. Hold on, check. Damn, it's running that slow for real.
Republicans have been appealing to audiences, especially young people like myself, online using social media. Why does Republican messaging on social media seem so much more effective than Democratic messaging, and what can we do about it?
Well, that's a great question. I think the Republicans are effective. They have learned a lot about social media. And by the way, it doesn't hurt that their friends own all of the major social media platforms.
Republicans have been appealing to audiences.
Bro, the White House posted that, bro. Like, that's the White House posted that shit, bro. Like, I don't know if y'all are on X, man, but that is crazy over there, bro. The White House and these people in this administration, they cut the fuck up over there, bro. They really cut the fuck up over there on X, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Question is for you. Nicole Plavitska is here with us tonight. Thank you so much. She's a Democrat and a student at George Washington University from Sunnyvale, California. What's your question?
Hello. Republicans have been appealing to audiences, especially young people like myself, online using social media. Why does Republican messaging on social media seem so much more effective than Democratic messaging, and what can we do about it?
Well, that's a great question. I think the Republicans are effective. They have learned a lot about social media. And by the way, it doesn't hurt that their friends own all of the major social media platforms. Bezos owns Twitter or X.
Bezos don't own X, Bernie. Elon spent like $40 billion to buy X. Bezos on Amazon and Amazon Prime and shit. I think Bezos might own was it a Washington Post? He owns one of those news publications. But yeah, Bernie, big dog. That's Elon, man. Elon spent like a 40 ball, man. He spent the big 40 on Twitter, man, and turned it to X.
Zuckerberg owns Meta, Facebook, and Instagram. Mr. Ellison's going to own you pretty soon. I think he's going to take over CNN, not to mention CBS. So these guys have, they can use algorithms to help themselves. But to answer your question, look, it gets back to something that I've been talking about, Alexandria, others have been talking about. What does the Democratic Party stand for? And I think messaging becomes easy when you're prepared to stand up and fight the right fights. And what is the right fight? At a time when the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 93%, and the rich are getting richer while working families are struggling, you tell me what the issue is. And the issue is whether you stand with the working class of this country or with wealthy campaign contributors. And we're seeing more and more Democrats around the country, by the way, beginning to understand that.
But to her question about how you're reaching out to people, the two of you did a video recently that got millions of views explaining the government shutdown, talking about why you think this fight is worth it. Democratic leaders did one, a live stream that only got a couple tens of thousands of views, much less than both of y'all's. Do Democratic leaders need to up their game and how they're reaching people?
This is the master of social media. I'll let her answer that.
Well, I think to Bernie's point, we're successful in these mediums when we're clear about what we believe. And whether in the great diversity of our country, in the very different perspectives that we may have, I know very concretely what I believe. Bernie knows very concretely what...
It's crazy. It took them folks almost a year to even bring this conversation to the table. Chat, everybody that's been in here rocking with me since at least, about this time last year, how long have I been preaching this? That the Democrats need to get it the fuck together on social media. The last election was one of those. How long have I been saying? I've been saying this shit damn near a year. And it's finally getting to the mainstream. It's like, well, damn.
What he believes, that healthcare is a human right, and that the minimum wage should be a living wage in this country, that public colleges and universities should be tuition free, that no person in this country, in the wealthiest nation in the history of the world, should be too poor to live. And it is clear to communicate that as an individual.
Now, to the question earlier as well, when they talk about Republicans and their success online, they have been successful because they have also been very clear, especially digitally, about what they believe. That women are inferior, and they do not deserve equal rights. That they believe that LGBTQ Americans are subhuman. That they believe and are circulating disgusting racial and white supremacist messaging that they are able to get away with digitally and online. And they are able to radicalize and target and exploit a generation of young boys, in particular, away from healthy masculinity and into an insecure masculinity that requires the domination of others who are poorer, browner, darker, or a different gender than them. And that is why they are resonating online, because they are appealing to the most basest and worst parts of human nature to divide us. And why to divide us? So that the same people who own those platforms, people like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg, that these people can continue to get away with highway robbery in tax cuts and in order to fleece all of our pockets, cut our health care, keep our wages low so that we remain fighting amongst ourselves while they make themselves richer. And so in order for us to fight back against that, we must be clear about what we believe, have strong beliefs, and also be completely unwilling to bow to that kind of division and stand in solidarity with one another, especially when it is someone whose culture is different from ours or whose background we may not entirely understand, but that we honor, love, and see as our fellow Americans. Representative Ocasio-Cortez, Senator Sanders, we have a lot more questions for both of you coming up. We're going to take a short break and be right back with our CNN Town Hall.
That's how they be clapping in there, like, who's holding the damn clap card, man?
We are back with Senator
Who's holding the clap card around there, man? Let's be real.
Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez here tonight for our CNN Town Hall. Representative, this next question is for you, and it comes from Ashley Vasquez, who is from Washington, D.C., and is an attorney with the Department of Housing and Urban Development, who is currently furloughed.
All right, chat. For the first part of this town hall, y'all got to give them a rating. We're going to do Bernie Sanders first, 1 through 10. How did Bernie do in that first round of questioning, chat? How did Bernie do in the first round of questioning, 1 through 10? I'll give Bernie like a 7, man, like a 7.6, 7.7, man. Bernie did all right, man. He was a little stuck when it came to that social media question, and he kind of passed it off to AOC. I give Bernie like a 7. What do y'all give AOC, man? What do y'all give AOC, man? I give AOC like an 8. I give AOC like an 8.
I should note that Ashley and 4 of her colleagues have filed a lawsuit alleging that HUD retaliated against them for helping others exercise their rights under the Fair Housing Act. Ashley, what's your question tonight?
Thank you. Just to reiterate, I am speaking on my personal capacity, not representing the government, and I'm here with some of my colleagues who have been fired for speaking up and speaking out. So my question is about retaliation. Many career federal employees have been afraid to speak up. They've been afraid to push back on illegal orders, and some have even felt the need to comply in advance to prove their loyalty and protect their jobs. What would you say to those career federal employees, and is there anything at all that can be done to stop the retaliation and overcome?
Hey, y'all didn't like when I said I get AOC an 8. I mean, shit, she had clear messaging. She hit the social media shit on the nail, you know what I'm saying? She talked about what she wanted to talk about. It is what it is. Bye.
This culture of fear.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your question. And you know, I think even all of us heard at the top of the show tonight that many of the federal workers here are not having
that CNN is not disclosing the party affiliation of the federal workers that are here tonight. And that's for a reason. Precisely because of the question that you're asking. Because there is a fear over political retaliation by this administration and a singling out and isolating of career federal workers based on party affiliation, just in their participation in public civic discourse. And this is from a Republican Party that claims to believe in free speech, which we know from their actions in the last couple of months have actually been doing nothing but the opposite. No one should be afraid of retaliation in their workplace. It's just unacceptable. And we're not just talking about the Department of Housing and Urban Development. We're seeing this as well at the FDA, the CDC, the NIH, where people's lives are literally on the line. People are being fired. We're not talking about political appointees. We're talking about career civil servants. People who have been scientists for 20 years developing the next generation of chemotherapy treatments. People, the absolute public servants who, by the way, forego very often lucrative careers in the private sector because they believe in the values of public service. That is who this administration is targeting. Over what? Well, we saw that this administration was directing everyday federal workers to put in their email signatures partisan messaging that is likely in violation of the Hatch Act. And so this intimidation that people are feeling is not just about expressing themselves. They feel that this administration is trying to pressure them into breaking the law, or else they will lose their job.
Well, and to follow up with you on that, in terms of the federal layoffs that the White House has been warning more will come if the government stays shut down, and they're saying Democrats will take the blame for that. They also say that they're pulling funding for a lot of projects. The president described them as Democrat-oriented projects. One of that is they're withholding about $18 billion in funding for 2 infrastructure projects in your state. How do you and can you fight back against that?
That shit went to Argentina, man. I'ma just keep it real with you, AOC. Don't even trip. We know where the money went. We ain't gotta look for it. That shit went down there. Buddy down in Argentina. You know, the one with the black hair did the rock concert for his book. Yeah, he got the 18 billion y'all was gonna get. They cut the 18 billion from your ass. They put a little deuce on top of it, so that made it a 20 ball, right? And then once he got the 20 ball, it was like, well, look, shit, that was a free dub, so why don't you give me the real dub? So they actually doubled up. They gave him another 20 billion. So they actually got 40 billion down there. It is what it is.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, once again, this administration is making a foolish mistake by saying that they think that investments in housing and in energy are so-called Democrat priorities. Cutting the EPA as a Democrat priority. You know what this country looked like before the EPA? Rivers in rural areas were on fire because of corporations poisoning the people who lived in those areas. Poor middle-class communities getting poisoned and dumped on by corporations like Deloitte and 3M, pouring chemicals into these places. And they want to call it a Democratic priority. And that's why they want to eliminate the FDA. Well, you know what? You're damn well right that it's a Democratic priority to keep people from getting poisoned, from identifying dangerous chemicals that are being dumped and causing cancer in people without their knowledge. You're damn right that it's a Democratic priority to bring down the cost of housing and mortgages and rent. And you're damn right that it's a Democratic priority to raise the minimum wage in this country, to allow people to get a fair shot at the American dream. If they want to say,
what's up, DT? What's up, Tim?
They're right. And they are targeting all of us with this. And so I do think it's important for us to remember that, and that these priorities are actually not partisan at all.
And Senator Sanders, on this front, when we look at funding that Congress has already approved, one thing Democrats want to try to do here is to limit the White House's and the president's ability to rescind funding that's been approved by Congress. as you're negotiating a deal, or if we try to get closer to one, is that something that's a deal breaker for you?
Absolutely. You know, we are beginning, one of the things that frightens me, Caitlin, is we begin to accept as normal the unconstitutional, illegal, and outrageous actions on the part of the White House. Can you imagine anybody ever thinking that it would be acceptable for somebody to say, oh, people in New York and California and Vermont, they didn't vote for me. I'm not going to put federal funds into those states. You didn't vote for me. We right now have a president who is targeting the Attorney General of New York State, who is targeting a United States Senator because they did their jobs. Former head of the FBI. What he is trying to do and what ICE raids and knocking down doors are about is to make all of you afraid. You're a federal employee, don't speak up. You're a government official, don't speak up. You're in a law firm that somehow had clients taking on Trump, don't speak up because they're going to punish you. You are on CNN, we're going to sue you if you ask the wrong questions. My friends, what this is about is a movement toward authoritarianism, intimidating us all, making us afraid. And you stop and you think, what is this country about? What makes us the great country that people all over the world have always envied, looked to? It's the word freedom. It's the right to dissent. You disagree with me, that's fine. We have free elections. You want to beat me in an election? Go for it. You're a newspaper writer, write what you want. It's not having a president trying to intimidate you, sue you, cut your funding because you disagree with him. And that is the issue that we have got to also address, not just healthcare, not just housing. It's whether or not we stand up for the freedoms that millions of Americans fought and died to defend.
Are you, either of you, going to demand that they release the funding for those two
Absolutely,
infrastructure projects in order to reopen the government?
Of course. Well, you know, here's what we have to say. Not only should this infrastructure funding be released, but in New York, which this administration is targeting in some of these infrastructure cancellations, some of the projects that they have canceled have been large-scale wind energy projects. And again, they think this is a Democratic priority, right? Because it's wind energy. But this is energy, period. In New York State, Con Ed bills, that's our energy utility, Con Ed bills are set to go up almost another $100 next year because of those cancellations. That's affecting, and it's jacking up the prices in Mike Lawler's district, in Nicole Malliotakis' district, in Republican districts across the state. It is affecting, and they are jacking up the prices on MAGA voters too. It is killing all of us. Yeah, and so while they think that sabotaging energy projects in this country, which, by the way, oil and gas, much more volatile, that goes up and down all the time, that they think sabotaging these projects are somehow owning the libs. No.
Well, and I should note that Mike Lawler has told us he's actually trying to get the administration to reverse that holding on that funding. Senator Sanders, so on the shutdown,
if I might.
But can I ask you on the shutdown, because I've got a housing question for you coming up.
Damn, Sid, you say your OG in Somalia, you haven't seen her in 30 years, man. Go visit your OG, bro. Go visit your OG, Sid. When you get, man, make some time. I ain't even gonna say when you get some time, man. Make some time, Sid. Go see your OG, man. Go see your OG, man, for real.
I'm happy to answer that, but let me also just add on to what Alexandria said. I'll give you an example of cutting quote-unquote democratic programs. I managed to get a $7 billion provision in the Inflation Reduction Act. You know what it does? It will help low-income and working-class people install solar panels on their rooftops. If you have solar on your rooftop, you know what? Your electric bill will go down 70, 80, 90%. We're going to create all kinds of jobs doing that, building the solar, installing the solar. We're suing them, but they cut that program. A democratic one. Significantly reduce electric costs for working class people in America. That is a mentality, and by the way, it's part of a mentality of Trump, which thinks that climate change is a hoax.
Well, and they've warned that more cuts could come the longer this shutdown goes on. Senator Bobby Harms is joining us. She's a bartender from Horn Lake, Mississippi. She is a Democrat. She submitted her question via video.
A Democrat from Mississippi.
Indeed.
All right, there we go.
My American dream has turned into a nightmare. My family was only days away from closing on a USDA loan for our dream home. Then came news of the shutdown, and now we face uncertainty. Our lease is up, and now we have to move. The shutdown is costing us our chance to live our dream. What are you doing to end this stalemate and help restore faith in our elected officials, the people I helped to choose to guard my American dream?
We're going to do everything that we can to bring an end to this terrible shutdown, which is hurting you and which is hurting 1 million federal employees and millions of people who use federal services. But also, we have got to be cognizant that if Trump wins this fight, our healthcare system could well collapse and tens of thousands of people could die every single year.
Do you think Trump could win this fight?
No, we're going to win it. But it's not, I don't want to look at it like a political fight. We're going to win it because the American people are on our side. If you are, or you're a Republican congresswoman, you're going to go back to your district and people are going to say to you, why are you doubling my insurance premiums? Why did you throw me off of health care? That's a fight that Republicans are not going to win.
Well, and to Bobby's question, Representative, earlier you said that House Speaker Mike Johnson said he wants this shutdown to be one of the longest in history. I believe he said it could be one of the longest in history. He was saying that more of a warning about how long it could go on. I don't think it was a threat. But I do think people want to know how long they should brace for this to potentially go on for. Do you think by Thanksgiving the government could still be shut down?
I mean, I would certainly hope not. I would certainly hope not. My hope is that we're able to resolve this as quickly as possible. I'm ready to negotiate. Bernie's ready to negotiate. I mean, we are all open and ready to.
Is anyone actually negotiating right
No,
now?
but
Because we hear from
let
Republicans
me
and
reiterate
Democrats.
one point. Republicans aren't in town. How do you negotiate with people who refuse even to show up to do their job? They're on vacation for what, a month now?
Yes. House Republicans have been on vacation for.
But the Republican senators are here, and House Speaker Mike Johnson, we've had him on. He said, we've done our job. We passed the clean CR in the House. It's now up to the Senate to make these negotiations.
They need to pick up a phone, Caitlin. They need to pick up a phone. They're saying that they're doing all this work. They are twiddling their thumbs and talking to each other. It is actually an unconscionable abdication and refusal to work. They refuse. I've never seen people who hate working so much in my life. I mean, genuinely, they won't even pick up the phone. They won't. If I were Mike Johnson, you should be in that office negotiating with Hakeem Jeffries every damn day until we reopen this government. And any day that you don't do that is a failure. It is a failure. And until there is accountability for people who refuse to work, then we're going to continue to be in this cycle. So, you know, in the Senate, the Senate Majority Leader is John Thune. He should be negotiating with Chuck Schumer. President Trump should be having congressional leaders in the White House. Do you see that every day? No, you don't, because they're playing golf and they're going to Mar-a-Lago, and the House and Republicans in the House have been on vacation for weeks now. We are here in Washington, D.C. We are ready to work. We are ready to strike a deal. We're not here to just be my way and the highway about everything, but what we're also not going to accept is the complete collapse of the American healthcare system, so that just because the Republican Party has decided to take 1 million federal workers hostage.
Can I ask you on that, because you before have said a government shutdown is like hostage taking when it comes to paychecks, because you came into office actually during a government shutdown, the longest in U.S. history. So what would you say to Republicans who say you're doing the hostage taking this time?
Once again, pick up the phone. They need to pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone, baby.
It's not hostage taking if they refuse to clock in, right? We're all clocked in. We're all clocked in to do the job. They're not even here. They're not even here. And so it's not hostage taking as much as the fact that they refuse to show up and do the job.
Once again, the law is in the Senate. They need 60 votes. They don't have 60 votes. They've got 53 or maybe 52. That means you have to sit down and talk to the other side. It is not complicated. They are not doing that.
Yeah, each side is saying that no one's talking. And speaking of what's happening in the Senate, Senator Sanders, this next question is for you. It's from Rohan Naval, who is joining us here tonight. Thank you so much for being here. He said he's a Republican and a student at American University, and that you interned for the conservative group Americans for Tax Reform. What's your question?
Yes, thank you for your time, Senator. How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, I think it reflects more on Mike Johnson's leadership and President Trump's leadership. This is a leadership which said it's okay to give well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people in the country and then make massive cuts to healthcare for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
Well, I think, look, as I have said, there are 53 Republicans in the Senate, correct?
Yeah.
They need 60. What does that mean? It means you have to talk to the other side. Mike Johnson is not talking, John Thune is not talking, President Trump is not talking. That is the problem.
Well, they say their position is reopen the government and then we'll talk. Who changes their strategy first? Who's going to blink first, I think is a question a lot of people have.
Well, I certainly hope this is not a game. I mean, a lot of lives are at stake in terms of our federal employees who are hurt, in terms of tens of millions of people who are going to suffer from these health care proposals. So I hope the Republicans do the right thing. Come to the damn table and talk.
Can I ask you, Representative Ocasio-Cortez, on that? Because we actually heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson today on Chuck Schumer. He said he's supporting the shutdown to prevent a primary challenge from his left wing. Do you think that's what's driving Senator Schumer here?
No, absolutely not. It's such an insane suggestion. And in fact, it speaks to how desperate they are. This claim has been, Mike Johnson's been saying this, John Thune's been saying this. They are saying this because they are refusing to do their job. They're grasping for straws. They're trying to make this about political tabloids and political intrigue and horse races, exactly the kinds of things that people are sick of in this country. We're sick of it. We're sick of talking about these horse races, and we're sick of leaders who only want to spend their time talking about that instead of talking about real issues that affect our lives. Instead of talking about healthcare, instead of talking about wages, instead of talking about having air that's drinkable, air that's breathable and water that's drinkable. And it is honestly astonishing to me that the Speaker of the House would waste his time on something so inane and silly instead of actually worrying about his own constituents who are suffering at the hands of his leadership.
But are you saying that Senator Schumer should not be worried about a primary challenge from you?
No.
Let me jump in on this one. This is
what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
This is what we're
you have
talking
a country that is falling apart. We had a housing crisis, a healthcare crisis, an education crisis, massive income and wealth inequality, a corrupt campaign finance system, and the media says, "Oh, you're going to run? What are you going to run for?" Nobody cares. So one more touch.
Nobody cares. It's the House Speaker and President Trump and the Vice President saying it.
Right.
Pardon?
Well, of course, they're saying it to deflect attention away from the real issue.
Exactly.
And he'll tell you what the real issue is. Let's see if CNN talks about it. We're living in the richest country in the history of the world, right? All right, you tell me why we're the only nation not to guarantee health care to all people. The only nation not to guarantee paid family and medical leave. Why we have a $7.25 an hour minimum wage. Why we have 800,000 people sleeping out on the street. Why we have a president who denies the reality of climate change. Why we have oligarchs on top who have more and more power every day. Let's talk about that issue, not her own political future. She'll decide that.
On that note, Senator Sanders, Representative Ocasio-Cortez, we have many more questions coming up. We'll be right back from our CNN Town Hall right after this. Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Senator, I'd like to ask you about some breaking news that happened today and what we had heard from the White House. The president confirmed that there are CIA actions happening in Venezuela. We've seen multiple strikes happening on what they allege are drug boats out in open waters. Are you worried about this escalating further from here?
Well, I am worried again about the president acting in an unconstitutional way. The Constitution is pretty clear. You want to go to war, you got to go through Congress. You got to need authority from Congress. Think about what kind of world we live in. It's just governments are busy bombing and attacking other countries at will. So that concerns me very much. So yeah, I am concerned about it.
And his argument is he's saving lives because he's alleging that they're
Good,
carrying
they come to the
drugs
Congress and explain to us why you are doing that, and if it makes sense, you'll get support.
Okay, so you're not saying you're against it. You're just saying you'd like to have them
I am saying that the president is acting unilaterally in violation of the Constitution. That's a pretty big deal.
And Representative Ocasio-Cortez, another question tonight when it comes to how this shutdown is playing out here in Washington. I want to bring in Jill Ireland, who is a Democrat who works in insurance. She's from Santa Barbara, California, and her question is appearing via video tonight.
My question is, do you think that taxpayers should be paying for the medical care of immigrants that are in the country illegally? Thank you.
Well, we already know, and this is a common lie that Republicans have been repeating, that this shutdown is about Democrats trying to provide health care to the undocumented. And we already know that it is federal law and federal statute that undocumented people cannot be covered by the ACA, they cannot be covered by Medicaid, they cannot be covered by Medicare. Period. That is the law of the land. There are plenty of federal laws on the books. Now, the vice president has been trafficking this other misconception, saying that the emergency Medicaid program is providing health care to undocumented people. That too is a complete, just, I don't even know, whole cloth storytelling, we should say. The truth of the matter is that we have a federal law, as it should be, that any person who walks into a hospital in desperate need of medical attention receives that medical attention regardless of their insurance status and regardless of who they are. And I don't know about you, but me as a human being, I don't want to live in a world where if a human being is struck by a car or is getting rushed into a hospital, that the people in the ER surgical room are asking for your insurance information or asking for documents before they save your life.
But can I ask you on this to follow up? Because you said that it is federal law, that people, undocumented immigrants, can't get Medicare, Medicaid, the Obamacare subsidies. Do you believe that should be the law, though? Or do you think undocumented immigrants should have access to federally funded health care?
I believe personally that health care is a human right. I believe that every person should be able to go to the doctor. But I believe that right now, federal law is the federal law. And that absolutely, that U.S. citizens and people who pay into our programs deserve to be covered by these programs. And I mean, once again, I do believe that the federal laws that we have on the books are appropriate,
but
are
if
the
you
right
could
ones
choose,
to do.
Do you believe that should be changed?
Pardon?
If you could choose, do you believe that the federal law should be changed?
I believe in a single-payer healthcare system where if you go in and you need a doctor, you can get the medical attention that you need.
Okay, let me just make a point here. You know what demagogues like Trump always do? Instead of addressing the real crises facing our country, why are we the only major country not to guarantee health care while spending twice as much per person? We're spending $14,500. It's a good debate, right? Let's have that debate. You hearing Trump talking about that? No.
No.
Why are we having a high housing crisis when millions of people are spending 40, 50% of their limited? Let's discuss that. You know what?
Chat, I don't know why the hell I'm lagging, bro. I don't know why I'm lagging. But look, we're going to come back in a minute. I'm finna figure out what's going on with my internet, and we'll be back in a little bit, chat. My bad, man. I can't get through this lagging, man. Double tap the screen, shut up.